convenience and access is really the key. And, being able to relate.
Yeah. Amen.
So I definitely got some relatable stories I can share with these guys. But being a good stewards of people's time, is important. I keep saying time over and over again, but that's such an important piece. I mean, I think time is our most valuable asset. It's more important than money. It's more important than anything because we're only allotted 24 hours in the day, and we're only got so much time on this planet. I think that's really the key. But making access easy. I love to teach, so I like my patients to try to understand as much about what I'm looking at as I know. And the more I can offer them, the better understanding, the more solid the relationship is, and the more trust there is to follow the plan I'm suggesting for them. So I try to bring my guys into, this is why we're going to look at these labs. This is what these labs mean, and this is why we're going to continue to track this piece, whatever that might be.
Welcome to MyMD Unscripted, where healthcare gets personal and the script gets tossed. I'm Dr. Clint Carter, ER doctor turned direct primary care freedom fighter, on a mission to challenge how our healthcare system treats patients in America. In every episode, my expert guests and I dive into real conversations about what's broken and how we can fix it by making healthcare about people, not just managing disease. It's time to rethink what healthcare should be and how we can make it better together. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to MyMD Unscripted. Thanks for joining us today, where we talk about all the things you wish your doctor had the time and the know-how to talk about to help you feel healthy now and later. Today, we are joined by none other than Jay Marsolan, the nurse practitioner at MyMD Select in Longview, Texas, our brother company over there just down the street. So, Jay, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and get organized here, but what does it look like in a modern clinic where patients and providers have the freedom to test and treat how they want without insurance in the way? What does it look like going forward for you at your place and how you believe things are going in general, man? How's it going?
Hey, Clint, man, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. It's an awesome opportunity. Yeah, so, man, I am a nurse practitioner. I've been a board-certified family nurse practitioner since 2011. I've actually been in medicine since I was 16 years old. We could talk about that here in a minute.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story, brother.
Yeah, I've got quite the story. But people used to look at my resume and go, "Man, how old are you? You have more than one life." But man, to your question specifically, what does it look like? It looks like a relationship, really, at the end of the day. And it's, because DPC blesses us with time that the conventional medical model just doesn't offer. We don't have to run 40, 50 patients through our office in an 8-hour day. And that allows the time to create relationships. And I think, you and I would both agree that's largely the reason why we got into this.
Right.
We enjoy people. We want to help people. And you can't do that unless you have a relationship with people. And relationships aren't built in 5 minutes over, what's going on today? I got a snotty nose. Okay, well, here's your Z-Pack. I'll see you, in 10 days if you're not better. It doesn't work that way.
Well, what about the hour they spent in the waiting room? That was bonding time, right? Come on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, we could go on for days about all the failures.
Yeah, it's too much fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, for me, it's about relationships with people. And that's what makes it meaningful. And you create that trust and that bond that's there that you just can't get without spending time with folks.
I love it. My patients all think I'm really smart. And, I don't always tell them the truth, but the advantage that we have with time on our side to dig into what matters and how they really feel. And then what are some of the things that we can do about that? Because their last doctor said their labs looked normal and they still feel like crap. So it's not really, I tell my patients, I'm not smarter than the other guy. It's just not a fair fight. I've got an hour. He had 5 minutes. It's just not fair.
Yeah.
And absolutely. It's, gosh, man, I was burned out and didn't want to be a doctor anymore because I just wasn't going to do that anymore. And now being a medical provider in my community is a blast. It's fun when I see people out now, and it's, before it was like, okay, did I see them in the ER? Were they happy with me? How did that, it's just like, I love it. How long have you been in Longview, man?
So I've lived in Longview since 2006. So I feel like it's home now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where were you before that?
So I was born and raised in Orange, Texas, which is down by
Oh
Beaumont
gosh.
in
Right on.
the Golden Triangle, which is not so golden, but mostly just chemical plants and cancer. But I got out of there, I ended up in Longview by way of Temple, Texas, worked at Scott and White, the opportunity
Yeah, right.
to be there, and learned a lot throughout that time. But yeah, my career started out with EMS. In fact, had a good friend that was an EMT and used to tell me all the cool stories about being on the ambulance. So I thought, man, that sounds kind of cool. I think I might be interested in that. So I became an EMT. I was so young when I got done with the program, they couldn't insure me to even drive the ambulance. So I just volunteered and rode in the back. But pretty cool experience, man. And it lit the fire, man. I got the bug, and medicine was my thing. Just kind of stayed with the emergency medicine track, and ended up doing that all the way through nursing. And I was a flight nurse, flight medic for a while, did it on a helicopter. Then once I became a nurse practitioner, I just kind of stuck with that because it was really all I knew at that point, right? And
Yeah.
to your point about being burned out and getting into DPC, I'll do you one better. When I was 38 years old, I'd been working as a nurse prac in the ER, working 16-hour shifts, and just literally killing myself.
Yep.
Then I had a heart attack at age 38. Yeah, right coronary artery 100% occluded, brought me into the same ER I worked in. Never forget the ER doc, one of my mentors and good friends, opening the doors of the ambulance and seeing me inside. Was like, oh, this is real. I know this guy.
Like at 38, you had a full blockage. Holy smokes.
100% in the RCA. And when they cathed me, my LAD had a 98% lesion in it.
Dude.
Approximately.
Man.
Yeah. So the widow.
It makes me think you didn't get out of Orange County fast enough, man. Not Orange County, Orange, Texas.
I don't say this to scare any other docs that might be watching, but man, stress will kill you.
It'll kill you.
I mean, 100%, just burning the candle at both ends. I mean, I thought I was healthy. Dude, I was out CrossFitting and doing Taekwondo and Jiu-Jitsu and pretty much anything I could get my hands on as far as exercise. I thought I was in great shape. In fact, the cardiologist looked at my EKG that night in the ER and said, man, that's just a young heart. This dude's fit as a fiddle. And thank God the ER doc said, well, take him to the cath lab and prove it.
Yeah. Prove it to me. Yeah. This guy doesn't die on my watch. Yeah. Amen.
He saved my life. Yeah. So that was pretty interesting. But when waking up on the other side of that, I was like, man, I got to get out of here.
Yep.
I'm killing myself. And what can I do? And it's by the grace of God that my wife was working with you at that time. Actually,
yeah.
I was looking for something in this. I kind of started to investigate DPC and what that looked like, and God just put you in our way, and you connected me with Jeremy. And
Dr. Smith to the rescue.
Yeah, right. It's all history from there on. So, but yeah, that's my story, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I'm glad I don't have your story, bro. I don't want the heart attack piece.
No. But I think things happen to us for a reason. Well, I don't think I know.
Oh yeah.
So it's been an influential story to share with patients.
It has. Oh man.
For why you need to manage your stress and why you need to go see your doctor.
And I my piece about, depression and burnout, and, I use the line, I wasn't going to jump in front of a bus, but I wasn't going to jump out of the way either. It was just in that space where, I think God let me go through some of that so that I can, minister to my patients in a more, empathetic way. So yeah, it kind of, you wouldn't trade your path, but you'd love to help other people avoid it if you can,
Yeah.
So what is it that you love so much about working at, you're at MyMD Select in Longview. What does you love working direct primary care, concierge style? What is it that you do that kind of gets you up out of bed in the morning?
And again, it's really the relationships. It's the time. That's what I love about what we do, because they're not just patients. They're not just another case. You actually know these people, and typically because of how it's all structured, I mean, you wind up not just seeing mom, but you're seeing dad, and you're seeing the kids, and then their cousins and their aunts and uncles, and I mean literally the whole family, and you get to know them, and that becomes generational. I'm taking care of people who had babies, I'm taking care of their babies over the last 8 years, so that's just really the best part. And even better because they're my neighbors, they're
Yeah.
my fellow Longview people, and they're teachers and they're farmers and ranchers and guys that work the plants around me, and that are part of our community. So that's really cool. But yeah,
and getting the men in the clinic, because as a dude, I'll tell you, I was not going to go sit for an hour in a waiting room and then go sit for 20 more minutes waiting on the doctor in the room for him to come in for 5 minutes and tell me to exercise more and eat better. There wasn't any value there, I just wasn't going to do it. And so I love how this model sort of respects people's time in general. I mean, got all these guys who are like, I'm fine, but their wives drag them in, and then they're like, that was pretty freaking amazing. And we can kind of get down to why they feel old at 42 years old or 52, and hell, your case 38.
Right.
How do you handle your men's health in your clinic?
Man, so that convenience and access is really the key, and being able to relate.
Yeah. Amen.
So I definitely got some relatable stories I can share with these guys. But yeah, being good stewards of people's time, is important. I keep saying time over and over again, but that's such an important piece. I mean, I think time is our most valuable asset. It's more important than money. It's more important than anything, because we're only allotted 24 hours in the day, and we're only got so much time on this planet. I think that's really the key. But yeah, making access easy. I love to teach, so I like my patients to try to understand as much about what I'm looking at as I know. And the more I can offer them, the better understanding, the more solid the relationship is, and the more trust there is to follow the plan I'm suggesting for them. So I try to bring my guys into, man, this is why we're going to look at these labs. This is what these labs mean, and this is why we're going to continue to track this piece, whatever that might be. So
right.
Really try to pull them into their care with the understanding that they go out knowing why we do what we do, or why we're doing what the treatment is, and where we're going next with this.
Yeah. And it's really an exercise in shared decision making when you have an hour to educate your patient, and then you go, you're the pilot, I'm the co-pilot. These are the things I see that might be in your way. How you want to handle that, and then it's their choice. So they're more likely to do it. It's more likely to succeed if they do it. And then they're going to start feeling better. And then they're going to start building successes upon successes that they didn't even know they felt bad.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
It's a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, and a lot of times we're that catalyst. I think about it like trying to get a rocket into space.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes an exorbitant amount of energy and effort, and I mean, all the switches have to be clicked in the right order to get that rocket out. But once it's in orbit, it stays out there pretty easily with just some minor adjustments. But a lot of times we are the catalyst to get it off the launch pad. So,
I mean, once people you get their hormones right, or peptides, or just diet and exercise, and they start feeling better, and they feel like getting off the couch to go do that stuff, and you don't want to go back once you've sort of realized what happened, because it was boiling a frog the first time. They didn't realize it was happening, but now once you realize that you're not 90 years old yet, you don't want to go back to that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then a lot of times you run into, I mean, I'm sure you've seen this as well, people coming from other clinics where they've already kind of dipped their toe in some of these things, but nobody's really taken the time to explain to them, what to expect and what needs to happen and what their responsibility is in this. Cause I mean, they're 99% of it. We're just a fraction.
Yeah. Well, we've been raised in a system that treats the fruit, not the root. We're treating diseases. We're not treating people. And you've got a big functional medicine portion of your practice. Tell me about how because that's part of you can't do functional medicine in a 5-minute visit anyway. I mean, there's so much education that goes into the root of the problem. Tell me how that fits into your place.
Yeah, man, I would say even more so, are we really, under the conventional medical model, are we really treating disease, or are we just managing it?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't
That's
even know
a better
that.
word.
I think treating is probably a strong word for it, but yeah. So functional medicine, man, it has opened up a whole new set of tools for the toolbox. And my view of conventional medicine is I'm trying to get to a label that I can slap on you as fast as I can, because once I've got the label on you, now I know what box to look in, where my
Right.
tools are, right?
Right.
Whether that's hypertension or diabetes or whatever the label looks like. But functional medicine, it doesn't care about labels. And I've never been a label kind of person. So I really
Right.
like that approach. So,
Right.
with functional medicine, the whole thing starts with this really important interview where we go back to not even at birth, but even in the womb. What happened to mom? What was she exposed to? How did the pregnancy go? And who asked those questions?
Yeah. That's
I,
crazy talk, man.
I had a guy not too long ago that the biggest takeaway from our entire hour and a half initial functional interview was, I can't believe you asked me if I was breastfed. Nobody's ever asked me that before. And when I explained to him why, he was like, okay, well, that makes perfect sense. But like literally nobody's ever asked me that. So, having that time to go through all that process, but that through that, because we are a DPC and we do have that time, we're able to gather, just a massive amount of information that really before you ever even think about pulling the prescription pad, I mean, we're talking about diet, we're talking about sleep, we're talking about stress management, we're talking about relationships, really what I consider the trinity of medicine, not just physical health, but mental and spiritual as well.
Yep.
So, we can start to bring all of that in with functional medicine while we try to uncover whatever the label is that you've been given. Can we get down to the root of that? And oftentimes we do find it's rooted in diet, stress, sleep, relationships, all of those things encompass. So, being able to peel back those layers and get to the onion source,
Yeah. Hey, man. And just like peeling an onion, it'll make you cry sometimes.
it
You
does.
know,
Yeah. Yeah. And
whether you like it or not, it's
that's right.
coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I honestly, I'm not technically functionally medicine trained, but I know I haven't asked anyone if they were breastfed in my career. So I'm with that guy. That's pretty impressive. But so the other thing that I love, and one of the things I wanted to talk about is, in the modern age of medicine, the tools that we have are changing, and something that's changing every industry out there, whether they like it or not, is AI. And I do love that at MyMD Select, we're forward thinking, we're pushing like, how do we use this to better take care of our people? It's yet another tool. Tell me about, you've gone, you jumped into deep into that pool. Tell me how AI, what you're doing and where you think it's going. Tell me about that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I had an opportunity to do some training through the University of Texas on artificial intelligence and machine learning, and that was quite the course.
Wow.
Actually, can even code in some Python now, so I don't do a lot of that because it takes time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who's got time for that? Yeah.
Yeah, right. But that's even another place where AI is coming into handy. It's
Yeah.
you've got programming, writing programming, so
Yeah.
that's
No.
pretty cool. But yeah, man, I think AI. One of the big things, from a provider perspective, and you're seeing more and more of this come out as a time saver.
Yep.
The AI scribe is kind of where everybody dips their toe in.
Yeah.
Got which is absolutely amazing because it does take, even for a conventional practitioner, man. If you're not using AI scribe, you better get one
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah. You're falling behind real fast. And
Absolutely.
it's, gosh, man, just having your note
Yeah.
done when you're
Yeah.
done
Or
is, God.
Yeah, and it always amazes me when I go back and look at it, the things that I probably would have not either written down or remembered to document that are key
Yep.
to what we're talking about going forward. So that piece alone is huge as a time saver, and it also frees you up to actually look your patient in the eye. Stop looking at
Yeah.
your computer, stop looking at your notepad. Just again to the relationship piece,
Yeah.
so and patients appreciate that. So that's been one thing, and it certainly allowed us to provide some scalability to what we're doing, and because we leverage that both with patients, during a face-to-face interview, but also virtually,
Yeah.
which we do a lot of that as well. But some of the next pieces we're looking at are how do we incorporate AI on the front end, where we're not just leveraging it for the provider, but also for our staff to collect information up front, have that already loaded into the chart so that staff members aren't having to do those things. That AI can very, very effectively ask questions and collect history information.
Yes.
We're just probably months away from robots that are able to take blood pressures and do those kinds of things, or heck, patients can even sit down and put a blood pressure cuff on themselves, and all of that
Yeah.
stuff links up. So we're investigating some of those other areas, really to kind of just improve workflows, but also answering phones, responding to messages.
Amen.
Yeah, so we're working on bots for those things right now. It's people creating tech to interact with people is an interesting model.
Well, and it's predictive technology, right? It's guessing what the next word needs to be based on the last word. And that doesn't always end up what you would have said if it was really you. So it's not ready for prime time yet. But, if you think about it, like we take care of people all day on our app virtually. The minute minority of them come in to see us for their, acute needs, plus the scheduled folks for their long wellness visits. And so our practice is one about quality, not quantity. But the people that are reaching out, our staff is spending an inordinate amount of time figuring out, okay, is this a med refill? Do they need a refill? Is this, was this, all of the things that go, oh, you're sick. Okay. What's going on? And all these basic questions that very soon needs not be a human. And then when the AI just hands it off, this person's ready for a refill. They're on this medicine. They're due. This person's sick. This is their symptoms. They've had it going on this long. Tag, you're it. We don't want to replace the human element. We just want to maximize the time and the thought process. Don't waste your poor neurons on, the intro. Let's go.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what we're looking to do, and things that we're working on now. And to even take that a step further, having these bots go in and look forward to say, okay, this person's due for their routine lab work, next month. Let's go ahead and get them scheduled. And so it's just creating the guardrails. And you nailed it, man. It's the unpredictability of the human response.
Yeah.
The bot just didn't quite, you said it, not ready for prime time. It just doesn't understand. But man, when I kind of really got into this heavy a couple of years ago, where we are today with AI technology, I mean, even just Chat GPT, you can see it evolving almost daily.
No, I've only been playing with chat for less than a year. And in that time, it's light years further than it was when I started.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
Actively learning as it goes. And I tell people all the time, we don't know what we don't know. And that's one thing that, I think a lot of providers, and, I don't know if you've looked at Glass AI, but that's a GPT or a large language model powered instrument for doctors.
Yes.
And it's actually pretty cool. And, but one of the things that you can see in that is, it kind of drives you to ask questions that you might not have asked had you not been prompted. Because none of us know everything.
Correct.
You know a lot. None of us know everything. So we don't know what we don't know. And that can be dangerous in some cases, but at the very least, it can be, exclusive, where we accidentally leave something out that could have been a key piece of information.
I love that, our patients joke about Dr. Google, but I'm like, dude, I Dr. Google all the time. The difference is that I know what to ignore and what's applicable and what, that's just, unfortunately, if the layperson Googles anything, they always end up thinking they have cancer somehow. And so
exactly,
I love it. AI is the same. You get a tool that presents even open evidence or whichever, AI tool you want to use that's going to help you look up things for your patient. You can put in I got a 38-year-old male with and it, it'll start working you up. And 3 out of the 5 things I can ignore right off the top and just get right to what it needs. But then I'm like, ooh, I didn't think about that one.
Right.
Yeah, that's absolutely on the list of things that we should be. Yep. Can we add that test to his blood work, please?
Exactly. Yeah.
Amen.
It is, as you said, a tool and a very powerful tool. And but it doesn't replace that human element of being the filter that it needs.
No way.
That's always going to be there. So
the human in the loop, I think, is one of the ways that they look at that. It's just like you're never going to get the human all the way out of the loop. Not in the near future.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just say never say never with AI. I mean, surely this is how the world's going to end, but in the meantime, it's going to be great.
Yeah, and I think for us, we're looking for scalability and efficiency. That's really what we're trying to leverage this thing for. Is how can we be more efficient to not just grow a business, but to create better care.
And I will say the weakness of direct primary care and concierge medicine in general is the small patient panels. Right? Like I just can't give this level of care to 1,000 people. I just can't do it. Each provider is going to max out in the 300 to 500 range, depending on how comprehensive a kind of practice they are. But things like AI that make our staff more efficient, make us more efficient, if it adds 100 patients to every DPC docs panel in the end,
that's huge.
Amen, man. That's more people getting to experience medicine the way it's supposed to be done.
Absolutely.
And all the more reason that more providers and staff can come along and join the revolution, because
exactly.
There's the only real reason, I mean, the main reason to grow our practice, we've been doing it for, 9-10 years together, is because we've been doing it well, and we want more docs, more providers, more staff, and more patients to get to experience it. It's just not cool that such a high percentage of the population are trapped in a system that's broken and getting more broken by the day. So having a tool like AI that makes that more likely to succeed, bring it. And hey, the way that it helps my colleagues that are stuck in the broken system take care of their patients that are also stuck in the broken system, God bless, man. The patients need all the help they can get.
100%. Yeah, I agree totally.
Well, gosh, man, men's health, functional medicine, AI, doing it all in Longview, Texas.
Yes.
A part of the group of clinics that we call MyMD Select, and we're looking to help more and more. What, as we kind of start wrapping up, and we'll let you tie a bow on it from your perspective, but what would you want to leave? So if you have one thing that you could have a patient that has never used direct primary care or feels like they're not being heard, or what's the one tip and what's the one thing you wish that every patient could know or do, and what would you recommend?
Man, I think I would say just because your labs look normal doesn't mean you're okay.
Yes. Yeah. Best answer ever.
Sometimes you just need a little deeper dive that goes
outside
of what's on paper. We learned this in emergency medicine, and I know you've heard this. You treat the patient, not the monitor.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Good. I mean, it's labs are just a monitor. They're just a numbers. I think that too often patients just, and some of this is, again, comes back to time. When you're a doc and you're processing 100 labs a day, they're in normal range. You're good. You're okay.
Yep.
I'm not going to worry about it. And I'm not necessarily thinking about trends and where things are going, but I think that's the one thing I would call patients to say is, hey man, just because your labs look normal doesn't mean you're okay.
And if you feel like crap, probably something's going on.
Treat the patient, not the monitor.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, amen. I remember in ER, because, we both came from that ER world, man. No one was special. No one. Everyone's the same. They're like, well, my fever's 98. I'm like, whatever. I quit listening to you when you said you were special. But here it's like, oh wait, no, people are special. Everyone's different. Trends matter. Yes, you are hypothyroid with a normal TSH and you have every symptom. Let's dig into that. No? Yeah, absolutely. That's a great one. Gosh. But what else, man? What else did I not ask you about that I need to ask you about with what you guys are doing and loving over there?
Man, I think we've covered most of it. We've got a couple of functional nurse practitioners there in Longview, and Megan McDonald, just to plug her, man, she's excellent at women's health. Her particular area of interest is gut and GI health, and she has done an extensive amount of research in SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth.
Yeah.
Very, very well versed in managing that with some amazing success cases and patients that have been failed through the gastroenterology pipeline. And folks, there's a lot of gut issues out there. So folks that are struggling with that would definitely benefit from consult with Megan. Yeah. Women's health, men's health, functional medicine, man, we're doing it all. I think we're going to see more and more of this functional space at least grow. I mean, just I don't want to get political, but, the environment that's out there right now, there's a lot of exposure to things like, the dangers in the diet and, possibly even dangers in some of the medications that we've been putting in our mouths. And I think people are going to start looking for other answers, other alternatives. And, functional medicine, that's exactly what it does.
I love it, man. I do love that the new regime is just like, it's rocking people's world, that they're questioning anything that we've been doing, even though we're the least healthy, modern, first world country, and we spend way more than anybody else on healthcare, and we're a disaster. And yet, how dare we question what's in our food and what's in our medical system? But so for people that would love to contact you, get a hold of you, see you in Longview, see you virtually, have a visit with Megan, what's the best way to get a hold of you, man?
So, of course, our website, mymdselect.com. If you click on locations, you'll find us under Longview, and call our clinic. Love to talk to you. I do offer 15-minute free consults, just so you can kind of get to know me. I can get to know you, make sure we're a good fit before we commit to anything.
Yeah.
903-309-1109. Super easy number. Yeah.
All right, man. Gosh, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
It's awesome. What you guys are doing is awesome. The functional, the availability, and quite frankly, we're both blessed to be in a business model that allows us to spend time, relationships, and enjoy being providers again.
Amen.
Yeah, because I was chewed up and spat out, dude, and I was done.
Yeah,
but
almost killed me.
Yeah, it tried. They did its best. That's so good, dude. That's so good. Well, all right, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
For you guys, thanks for listening. Give us a rating and a follow. We'll get better, I promise. But early on, it's just fun to start spreading the gospel of how medicine should be. It's fun for docs. It's amazing for the patients. And if you haven't gotten to experience it, it's coming your way. Coming to a doc's office near you. But in the meantime, thanks, guys, and you have a wonderful day.
Thanks for joining me today on MyMD Unscripted. I hope today's conversation opened your mind and inspired you to imagine a better path for your health and therefore life. If you found value in this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone passionate about transforming healthcare. Real change starts with real conversations, so let's keep them going. Until next time, stay well, stay curious, and never stop pushing for better.